This is the Stena Impero, a British oil tanker traveling through the Persian Gulf. On July 19, 2019, it was on its way to Saudi Arabia when it received a radio message from Iranian naval forces.
If you obey, you will be safe. Alter your course to 360 degrees immediate.
Later, the Stena Impero was dramatically boarded and seized. Using speedboats and helicopters, Iran's Revolutionary Guard took control of the British tanker and took it to an Iranian port. The Stena Impero isn't alone. Several oil tankers have run into trouble in recent months.
Already troubled waters were further roiled with attacks on 2 oil tankers.
3 Iranian vessels tried to block a British tanker.
An unnamed U.S. official is blaming Iran for explosions on 4 ships.
Iran declared it had seized an Iraqi oil tanker.
Plot these incidents on a map and you'll see them centered around this narrow ocean passage, the Strait of Hormuz. Dozens of oil tankers pass through here daily, each carrying up to 84 million gallons of oil. This flow of oil represents 20% of the world's supply. A former Iranian prime minister even referred to this passage as the jugular of the global economy. But these ships and this narrow strip of ocean are caught in the middle of a struggle between the US and Iran, one that has the potential to escalate and to choke the global economy in the process. The Strait of Hormuz lies between Iran and Oman. It links the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman, which eventually leads to the Arabian Sea. At its narrowest, the strait is less than 34 kilometers wide, and oil tankers that pass through here travel on a pair of shipping lanes, each 3 kilometers wide. Most of these ships carry petroleum products from the Middle East to the rest of the world, and in particular to Asia. But an attack on any tanker here, regardless of destination, can affect the price of oil everywhere. That's because oil is a globally traded product. A drop in supply from the Gulf can drive prices from other sources around the world. After 2 recent oil tankers were attacked in the Strait of Hormuz, the price of oil from the North Sea jumped nearly $2 per barrel. It's because of this strategic importance that the Strait of Hormuz has become a place where long simmering tensions between the US and Iran are playing out. And it all began with the tanker war.
Saddam Hussein ordered his troops across the Iranian frontier after a series of border skirmishes.
War broke out in the Middle East in 1980 after Iraq invaded Iran. The US helped Iraq in its campaign against Iran by providing military intelligence behind the scenes. When Iraq wasn't able to topple Iranian forces over land, it turned its attention elsewhere.
Missiles against tankers are the weapons that both sides are using to try and break the stalemate in their war on land.
Iraq moved to cut off Iran's main export. It began attacking tankers carrying oil from Iranian ports in what became known as the Tanker War. Iran eventually responded by attacking oil tankers moving to and from the Gulf states, some of which were supporting Iraq. But with Iraq being aided by the West, Iran had to get creative. It turned to sea mines and planted them around the Strait of Hormuz. For the first time, Iran was using the disruption of oil moving through Hormuz as a weapon. But these disruptions finally drew the US directly into the conflict. In 1987, the US stepped in to protect the flow of oil for itself and its allies by escorting tankers. Tensions between the two countries began to escalate. In 1988, a US naval ship struck an Iranian mine, injuring US sailors on board. A couple months later, a US warship